So the topic today is keyboard accessibility in Windows 10. We utilize Windows on our desktop computers and our laptops, and that allows us to have access to programs such as Microsoft Office and those other suites of tools, as well as our Google Chrome suite that we have throughout the school district. So what I want to do today is show you how you can capitalize on the accessibility features in Windows 10 for our students that have impairments or limitations in their ability to utilize the standard keyboard and mouse. So we're going to go to the Start menu and go to the Settings wheel and click here, and then we are going to go to Ease of Access. And let me make that full screen so you can see. The thing that we're most interested today in is the keyboard tools. So let's go ahead and select that. And you can see that once you select the keyboard, there's a number of accessibility features that can be turned on. Now, this is with the caveat that if a student has a particular need for these accessibility features, there are some different permissions that need to be granted through our technology department to develop their profile. The second thing to keep in mind is that these are based on the individual computer stations. So if a student has a need for this accessibility to be turned on, then they're going to need to set it up on each computer that they're working on. This is not something that is going to carry over between the different things that they are doing. But once they do have a computer set up and they've been granted those permissions, then they should be able to do that each time they return to that particular computer station. So with that in mind, you're going to want to continue to have them utilize the same computer stations whenever possible. So the first thing that we can do is turn on an on-screen keyboard. And an on-screen keyboard is typically for those who are going to use a touch screen, who have difficulty accessing a regular keyboard, or that they are using switch access or things of that nature, some alternative access rather than the standard keyboard. So that is a toggle that you can turn on and off. Let's turn it on, and you see what happens here is you get this on-screen keyboard that can be accessed by a mouse. It can be accessed by your finger if you're on a touch screen monitor. And you can see here that there are some additional options that you can use to make that access even more enhanced, such as using the click sound so the student knows a key has been activated, showing the keys so that they can see it. This is set up for access so that you have to click on the keys, but it could be set for hover on the keys so that you don't have to do an additional key strike. So look, if I just hover on a key, then it would activate that key. Let me bring up, oh, let's not do that. Okay, so and then there is a scanning feature here. So there's lots of alternative access that you can use in order to access this on-screen keyboard. Another example would be a student who's using a joystick to access rather than the standard mouse. So that is the on-screen keyboard. The second thing, and that's the one that we're going to emphasize today, is sticky keys. So with sticky keys, if you turn that on, that allows you to hit your keys in sequence. So rather than hitting like the shift key and holding it to make a capital A, you could hit the shift key, release it, and then hit the A, and it's going to activate the capital A. So our students who are using one hand can actually hit their keys in sequence. The options here come in handy. If we have it turned on, that's what it does. But one of the things that I like is that you can use this hotkey to turn it on. And that means that you would hit the shift 5 times and you'll hear the computer do a little doop. which means that it's turned on, and then if you hit it 5 times again, it's going to turn it off. So if a student was not logging out of a computer and other students were using the computer, or your student was using a general student log on, they could use that hotkey while they're logged in, and it should work for them. So there's some other variations that you can do in those keys, and that's all with these controls. So you can look at those, but mostly what we're really trying to do is turn it on in the student's profile. So all they have to do at any time is hit their keys in sequence rather than simultaneously. The toggle keys provides a tone when you press caps lock or one of the other keys, so that you know that that key has been activated. So that comes in handy if you tend to mishit and maybe forget that your caps lock is on or something like that, or you forget. It helps to remind you that you've hit a key that's going to do something that's going to change the functions of your keyboard. Filter keys is another good accessibility tool, and what that does is helps the student gain accuracy with his activation of keys. So if a student has a motor impairment, or any individual has a motor impairment where they tend to accidentally hit keys, then what the filter keys will do is filter out those inadvertent strikes. The thing is that you have to be really careful when you're adjusting that so that it doesn't impair your typing, because if you slow it down too much, then it'll make your typing really, really difficult, because you've got to land on each key for a period of time that you set in order to know that it's been activated. So some of the more recent features of this is to beep when the keys are pressed or accepted, because then you know that the key has actually been accepted. This is not something you're going to use for somebody who's a fluent touch typer. This is going to be for somebody who has a motor impairment, who is trying to access a keyboard, maybe even using something like CoWriter in a complementary mode with that to get their typing done. So those are the main things that you can do on a keyboard to help improve the access for students who have a physical disability or have a challenge accessing their keyboard in a smooth way. Maybe they're making a lot of errors when they're trying to hit keys, or again, they're unable to hit keys simultaneously because they only have the use of one hand, and sometimes those keys are spread apart. So check those out and see how they can help you. If you do have a student that you feel like has a need for some review of these accessibility features, just contact the student support office and we will have somebody come and check that out with you and make sure that their profile gets adjusted with the correct permissions so that they can access these accessibility features. Thank you very much.